Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again. We're going to go to the very beautiful state of Colorado. I was there once when I was really young and it was really quite a pretty state, but I don't remember so much of it, but I need to go back now that I know there's a lot of good beer there. So for this one we're going to go to Fort Collins and the new Belgium Brewing Company. And today we're having a taste of their flagship beer, which is the Fat Tire. It's an American amber ale, so it should be a really quite nice one for us to have a go at. I bought this beer at System Bolaget in Malmö, and this was the very first time I saw it, but apparently these guys are actually the 7th largest brewery in America and the 3rd largest craft brewery. But as I say, first time I've ever come across this beer, and I enjoy an amber ale, so I thought, why not? But anyway, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the video description below, including the brewery website, the links to my future reviews that I'll do from New Belgium Brewing Company, and also my Facebook page for the channel. Please like it, and the Untappd profile too. Feel free to add me as a friend. And to my Colorado viewers, please let me know some other Colorado beers you'd like me to have a look at. We get Ska Brewing over here, obviously we can get New Belgium as well, and Oscar Blues, but do let me know some of the more random Colorado beers you'd like me to have a go at, and hopefully I can find them. But it'd be really cool to review some more Colorado beers. But anyway, to tell you about the New Belgium Brewing Company. So New Belgium Brewery, as I told you, are based in Fort Collins in Colorado. It's a bit to the north of Denver, but quite close to the Wyoming border in the northern part of Colorado. But they were founded in 1991 by husband and wife team Jeff Lebesh, I can't speak, sorry, and Kim Jordan, and they founded the company back in 1991. But Jeff had been an avid home brewer, and like many, he decided to turn professional. But today the brewery are well known for their eco-friendly business practices, and also for the fact that they are 100% employee owned, and they actually started a stock scheme, an employee stock scheme in 2000, and the brewery became wholly owned by the employees in 2013 through this scheme. But all of their electricity actually comes from wind power. They pay the company, the power company, an extra charge to ensure that their electrical usage comes from wind power. But they also use the energy efficient Steinecker Merlin kettles for their boils as well. It's got extra metal cladding on it, and it allows the boil to heat more efficiently. So really quite a green brewery, and this seems to be a very common thing in Colorado. It's a very liberal state in America actually. But they have also been credited as being one of the best places to work in America by various independent sources. And today the brewery is actually the 3rd largest craft brewery in America, and also the 7th largest overall brewery in America too. So that gives you an idea of how big an operation is. So I'm very surprised that I only saw this beer for the first time when I went to Malmö last week. But the main brewery, as I told you, is in Fort Collins. This one employs over 800 people, and it produces over 700,000 barrels of beer per year. And as of 2014, they were also establishing a 2nd brewery in Asheville, North Carolina, and this will produce a further 500,000 barrels of beer per year. So that's your kind of brief history of the New Belgium Brewing Company. Really quite a cool company actually. If you're a business student, I guess this would be an interesting one to write a kind of case study about or something, much like Brewdog back home in Scotland, of course. But the beers that you can get from these guys, just to list them for you, there's this guy here, the Fat Tire, which is an amber ale. This is their flagship ale, and this is the reason. This was inspired by Jeff's bike trip through Belgium actually. So this is where this beer comes from, and you can get at the brewery, apparently they've got a lot of vintage bikes out there that are all nicely done up. But you get this guy, the Fat Tire. There's the Ranger IPA, Rampant Imperial IPA. That would be a good one to review on my channel actually. They've got the Shift Pale Lager, Sunshine Wheat, 1554 Black Lager, Blue Paddle Pilsner, Abbey Belgian Ale, and also a triple Belgian style ale as well. So this one, to tell you about this beer specifically, this is the Fat Tire, as I said. This one is an amber ale. It's hopped with Willamette, Goldings and Nugget hops with a malt base of Pale, Munich, Victory and C80 malts, and it comes in at 5.2%. So just let you have a little closer look at the artwork on this one before we crack it open. It looks really nice. I'll just try and take the shine away from the light there while you're seeing that. Move my light away. There you are. But as you can see, quite nicely presented, this one. I do like these kind of canned beers, but the bottles, you can get these in bottles as well, and they're in these Belgian style bottles with the kind of the sort of necklace thing around the neck of the bottle. It's really quite nice actually, and it's the same label incidentally that's on the can as is on the bottle actually. So really quite nicely presented. This, you can see the import sticker on it here in Swedish, imported by Galatea, of course. They own one or two, they own St. Erik's Brewery here in Sweden actually, quite a big importer of spirits and beers from all over the place, but yeah, really quite nice, 5.2%. There is quite an interesting commercial description of this one on the website there. It says, named in honour of our founder Jeff's bike trip through Belgium, Fat Tire Amber Ale marks a turning point in the young electrician's engineer's home brewing. Belgian beers use a far broader palette of ingredients such as fruits, spices, acetonic yeast strains than German or English styles. Jeff found the Belgium approach very freeing. Upon his return, Jeff created Fat Tire and Abbey Belgian Ale, assuming Abbey would be his big gun. He and his wife Kim travelled around sampling their home brews to the public. Fat Tire's appeal quickly became evident. People liked everything about it except the name. Fat Tire won fans, and in its sense of balance, toasty, biscuit-like malt flavours coasting in equilibrium with hoppy freshness. So, sounds like it will be quite an interesting beer. So let's get this guy open and we'll see how we get on here. Yeah, I always find it quite unusual. Like, I'm used to in Scotland obviously drinking beer out of bottles and things like that when you do these reviews. So it's actually quite cool to do it a bit differently and get a craft beer. It's only, back home, it's only really Brewdog that I can think of who actually can their beers now. But as you can see, this guy has poured a really nice sort of coppery amber colour, is probably a good way to describe this beer. I'll just put the light over and let you see exactly. It's definitely a kind of coppery amber colour is a really nice way to describe that, I guess. There's a finger of a kind of creamy coloured head on this. It's not white, it definitely has a kind of yellow, slightly yellowish creamy colour. Looks really nice. You can see there is a level of transparency to the beer if I put my fingers behind it. Not much in the way of carbonation visible on this. It looks really clear, just one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but I can actually, now that I've said there's no carbonation in it, I can actually start to see a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there, but it looks really quite a nice beer actually. So let's give it a smell before we get stuck into it. It's quite interesting actually. As you would expect from an amber ale, it's got quite a nice malty aroma. You've got some big bready character in there. There's a good sort of kind of toasted caramel or toffee element to it as well. You can pick up a wee bit of a biscuity, grainy character, but it's actually, you can smell quite a bit of hops in it. It's got a big wet grassy hop presence in it, this one. You have to sugar it up a bit more to get the malty elements out of the beer. But it does smell quite fresh. It's a sort of wet, fret cut grass you can get from this beer. But yeah, a little bit of floral character as well, but it's quite simple in its aroma actually. But it does smell very fresh. As I say, wet cut grass, and then you've got this bready malt base, a good bit of caramel and sort of toffee flavours in there, but some biscuity graininess and a little bit of toasted character as well. So yeah, quite simple in its aroma, but I've heard this one has a lot of big flavour in it, so let's get stuck into this one. So this is the Fat Tire, the flagship beer of the new Belgium Brewing Company in Fort Collins, Colorado. Slanje. Now that's a really, really smooth beer actually. It's got a very Belgian mouthfeel to it, like a light Belgian beer, very smooth and very drinkable. But yeah, once you let your palate adjust to it a bit more, as I always say, just sugar the beer around your mouth and let the palate adjust to it a bit more before you start picking out specific aspects of the flavour. It does come across as very smooth and very malty at the start, but after a couple of sips, the hoppy characteristics come out just a little bit more. But yeah, there's a sweet caramel malt character as you would expect. The middle of the tongue is actually just blanketed with a big white bready characteristic, just blankets the middle of the tongue. There's a bit of a kind of biscuity, sort of grainy syrup coming out of this beer as well. It's quite nice. But in the middle of the tongue too, there's a nice sweet caramelly malt coming out of the beer. Really quite nice. And quite toasted as well. They were saying that there's Munich malts in this beer, and you can really taste that kind of German bready character coming out of it. And I really do like that. I love these German Munich Helles beers with their big bready malt base, and you can actually see the influence of the Munich Helles in this beer. I think even though it's an amber ale, it does have just a little bit of that nice Munich Helles bread base in this beer. But yeah, around the edges of the palate, you're getting a nice smooth grassy character. The grassiness of the hops in this is really nice. And around the front curve of the tongue, you're actually getting a bit more of the slightly drier and slightly spicy kind of floral aromatic character. Maybe there's a little bit of earthiness, but a very smooth earthiness. And that's most likely to be the Williamette hop, I think. But around the very back corners of the palate, you get just a little bit of a smooth, earthy character, and it works really nicely. It builds a good bridge between the bready characteristics of the beer and the nice, smooth, hoppy flavours. The flavours in this beer blend together really well. It's not got anything that's kind of punching its way out at you, I think. It's just a very good blend of flavour, and I like beers that like that. Sometimes I like beers to be really punchy in one kind of aspect, but sometimes I also like beers that are nice and well blended together, and this one kind of fits into the latter category. But yeah, you will notice that about this beer. There is a kind of florally aromatic spice around the front of the tongue there, and it's really nice. I really do love a kind of floral aromatic-y hop character, and I think that's kind of the Williamette hop coming out there. The Goldings, if they're the Styrian Goldings, I think that's a Slovenian hop or an Austrian hop. They have a little bit of an earthy and a nice grassy character there too. I've never come across the Nugget really all that often, but the Williamette gives you a little bit of earthiness, and so does the Goldings hop, and it's got a good floral, grassy character as well. So really nice choice of hops in this beer. It's a nice balance between that nice bready malt base, a little bit of sweetness that you expect from the Munich Helles, but it also has a bit of the kind of hoppy aspects of the beer too. Really nicely done, and a good blend of flavour. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I would say quite mid-bodied, and the carbonation in this one is actually quite noticeable. It really helps bring out a little bit of the spicy character to the aromatic hops in this beer. Yeah, the carbonation, I think, kind of gives you a little bit, it does help bring out that spicy side of the aromatic hops there. Just pay attention to it on the front curve of your tongue there, but it's got a nice sweet malty characteristic, and there is just a little bit of dry and slightly bitter hoppy character, but there's a good bit of spice there too, and you're getting that all around the front of the tongue. Otherwise, the mouthfeel is really quite smooth. The nice, smooth, grassy hops in this beer are what stand out for me, and the nice little spice at the front too. Overall, this beer is a really nicely blended flavour. I think it's a really, really quite good one. This is a very sessionable beer, so if you enjoy a good sessionable beer and you like a sort of hoppy, a nice floral aromatic beer, but combined with a nice bready malt base, and this is one that you definitely want to check out, and it's one that you could go into a bar and have a few of, and yeah, a good session beer, this one. So do check it out if that's the kind of style of beer you're into. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. It's been cool to go over to Colorado once again and try another one of their beers. As I said before, to my Colorado viewers, please let me know some other Colorado beers that you would like me to have a look at. Always interesting to try beers from the different states in America. Colorado, of course, one of the bigger beer states over there. If you do happen to have tried this beer before though, please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on it. Always interesting to hear from you guys who are drinking the beer also. But I thank you for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and like the Facebook page, add me as a friend on Untappd. I hope to hear from you soon, and I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, slange you for now.